Continuing with our looping animation that's going to be nested inside a symbol. So I have this simple animation that I made, looping animation, but right now it's just out here on scene 1, and I need to have this inside a symbol. If I was thinking ahead, I would have made this a symbol first and then gone into the timeline of the symbol to make it, but since I didn't, I need to put this into the symbol. So what I want to do is I want to take all of these frames, select them all, and then right click or control click on them and say cut frames. So this is different than a normal cut or copy command. This is specific to frames. So I'm going to say cut frames. All the frames are gone, but they're on my clipboard. Now if I go to insert new symbol, I want to put this into a graphic symbol. So it's going to default probably to movie clip symbol. It will default to whatever the last symbol you made was, but generally it'll start off with movie clip. But what we want is a graphic symbol. So it says symbol 1 here. Give it a name. You want to always give it a name. Get into that habit. Symbol 1, symbol 2 is kind of dangerous when you go into merging different symbols from documents together, because there can only be one symbol with the same name in a document. So I'll just call it Boxy, maybe. Boxies. Yeah, Boxy. And it's a graphic symbol. Okay. So now I am inside that symbol. There's scene 1. Now I'm in Boxy. If I go over here to my library, I can see that there's a symbol Boxy, but there's nothing in it. So remember, a symbol is kind of like a document within a document, right? So this is the Flash document, but each symbol has its own timeline, and you can have symbols within symbols. You just can't have a symbol inside of itself. Okay, so here I'm at layer 1 inside of my symbol Boxy. I've highlighted it, and I'm going to right click or control click on that first keyframe. I'm just going to say paste frames to put my little animation in there. You can see it's still there. So now if I want to go out here to scene 1, there's nothing there right now. But if I take my little symbol from the library and just drag it onto my stage, I will get an instance of my symbol. And if I have enough active timeline here for it to play, it will play. So let me just go ahead and clean this up a little bit. I'll get rid of those extra layers. And I'll just call this loop. Doesn't really matter what you call it. But what does matter is that you have enough active frames here on the timeline for it to play. Because unlike, say, a movie clip symbol, you need enough frames for it to play the animation in it. Movie clip symbol can just sit on one frame, and once you render it out, it'll play. But we're doing something different, because we want to be able to use some of the properties of this graphic symbol. So if I select my symbol, remember my properties panel will show you properties about whatever it is you have selected, whether it's the frames here, right, or whether it's the symbol or the artwork. And so the main properties we're going to be looking at is the looping property, which is specific to graphic symbols, and the color effect we can use to spice it up a little bit if we want. But right now let's just talk about the looping properties. So if I go double click on my symbol, I go inside that symbol, and I can see that I have a 4 set of keyframes on 1, 3, 5, and 7. Right? So 1, 3, 5, and 7. I can either click here on scene 1 or just double click off to the side to get out of that symbol and go back up to my top layer in scene 1. And I'm going to now duplicate this a few times. So I'm going to, with my move tool active, I'm going to hold down my option key and drag it out to make a copy of it. And I'll do that again 4 times. Once for each keyframe in there. So bear with me for a second. So now if I hit play, you can see that they all play, because these are all instances of the same symbol. If I go to my library, I only have one symbol in here, so these are instances. They're like reflections of the symbol. If I go inside the timeline and change it, it'll change on all of them, right? So if I go inside of this symbol right here, since there's only one symbol, if I do something like this and change it, double click, and you will see that they have all changed because they are all instances of the same symbol. Go ahead and undo that. There we go. All right, double click to get out of there. Okay, so I've got 4 instances of the same symbol. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to get as much variation as I can with this simple animation. So if I go to this second instance right here, and I go to the properties of it, I can see that it's the looping property is set to loop as opposed to play once, which would just play the animation once and sit on the last frame, or single frame, which means it's just going to sit on whatever frame I tell it to sit on. But I'm going to leave it on loop, but I'm going to change it to start playing on the first frame. So if I go here to frame 1, right now this is playing frame 1 of the timeline within the symbol. I'm going to change this to something like 5. So now you can see it looks different. I'll go to this one here, and I'll have this one be 3. And this one right here I will have be 7. Right? So now, even though these are all instances of the same symbol, on frame 1, because I have the looping property set differently on each of them, they're all going to start playing from a different frame of the animation nested in them. Right? So now they are playing out of sync. So to further build diversity based on this one simple symbol, I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to copy them again. So I'm going to hold down my Option or Alt button while using the Move tool and drag them down like that. And I think I'll go to Modify, Transform, and do some sort of flip horizontal. Let's see how that goes. There we go. Got a little bit more going on. I can go ahead and select these guys. Copy all those the same way, holding down the Alt or the Option button. And now if I want to get more diversity, I can go to Modify, Transform, Flip Horizontal, Modify, Transform, Flip Vertical. Let's see what that looks like. Ouch. Hurts a little, huh? Okay, so now what can I do? I can keep doing that, copying it and changing things. So you notice that I changed the looping properties of my 4 symbols before I started duplicating them, because when I copy them, they also copy their looping properties with them. So I got them all selected. I'll go to my free transform tool, I guess, and I'll shrink them down, hold shift down if I want to constrain proportions. And right now it's scaling from the center, so since that's my default, if I want to scale from the opposite corner, I'll hold down my Option or Alt button. That'll make it a little bit easier to fill my my stage up with them. And perhaps if I just take all these guys, something like that. Yeah, that works. Maybe I'll fake it a little bit to fill up the whole screen. Alright, what's that look like? If it starts getting pretty sluggish on you, you can always render it out. Command Return will do a little test render. Ow, that hurts, but it's working. Okay, so we made a simple animation. We put it into a graphic symbol, and then we made multiple instances of it, and we changed the looping properties so that they play out of sync, and then we copied them and we flipped them horizontally and vertically so that they wouldn't be all exactly the same looping right next to each other. And we can take it further. So if I select one of these and I duplicate it again like this, how else can I get change? Well, if I have my free transform tool, I could rotate it. I could bring it out here, do something like that. I could do a non-uniform scale if I wanted, if I don't hold down Shift. I can change the transparency, so if I have it selected, I can go back to my properties panel. Now, if I look at color effects, I could do something like alpha, which is transparency, right? So I could make it more or less transparent, and it will still play, even if it does make my computer slow. I could change the brightness, so I can make it light or dark. If I make it all the way white or all the way black, you won't see much, but I can change it that way. I could play around with the coloring of it, right? So if I made the tinting 100% and then change some of these different levels. I can play around with how it's colored. If I go to advanced, I can play around with the transparency, known as alpha here, as well as the coloring. So if I want to lower the transparency and something like that, play around with the colors, whatnot. So the purpose of this exercise is just how much mileage can you get out of your simple geometric animation by changing the looping properties and by changing some of these color effects, mainly alpha and tint, brightness, advanced, which mixes them together. Your free transform tool by skewing them or rotating them, scaling them, or you can always go to the modify transform, and we got our flip vertical and horizontal, things like that.